Raggedy Ann had been away all day. Marcella had come early in the morning and dressed all the dolls and placed them about the nursery. Some of the dolls had been put in the little red chairs around the little doll table. There was nothing to eat upon the table except a turkey, a fried egg, and an apple, all made of plaster of Paris and painted in natural colours. The little teapot and the other doll dishes were empty, but Marcella had told them to enjoy their dinner while she was away. The French dolly had been given a seat upon the doll sofa, and Uncle Clem had been placed at the piano. Marcella picked up Raggedy Ann and carried her out of the nursery when she left, telling the dolls to be real good children while Mamma is away. When the door closed, the tin soldier winked at the Dutch boy doll and handed the imitation turkey to the penny dolls. "Have some nice turkey?" he asked. "No, thank you," said the penny dolls in little penny doll squeaky voices. "We have had all we can eat." "Shall I play you a tune?" asked Uncle Clem of the French doll. At this all the dolls laughed, for Uncle Clem could not play any tune. Raggedy Ann was the only doll who had ever taken lessons, and she could play Peter, Peter, Pumpkin Eater with one hand. In fact, Marcella had almost worn out Raggedy Ann's right hand teaching it to her. "Play something lively," said the French doll as she giggled behind her hand. So Uncle Clem began hammering the 8 keys on the toy piano with all his might, until a noise was heard upon the stairs. Quick as a wink, all the dolls took the same positions in which they had been placed by Marcella, for they did not wish really truly people to know that they could move about. But it was only Fido. He put his nose in the door and looked round. All the dolls at the table looked steadily at the painted food, and Uncle Clem leaned upon the piano keys, looking just as unconcerned as when he had been placed there. Then Fido pushed the door open and came into the nursery, wagging his tail. He walked over to the table and sniffed, in hopes Marcella had given the dolls real food and that some would still be left. "Where's Raggedy Ann?" Fido asked, when he had satisfied himself that there was no food. "Mistress took Raggedy Ann and went somewhere," all the dolls answered in chorus. "I've found something I must tell Raggedy Ann about," said Fido as he scratched his ear. "Is it a secret?" asked the penny dolls. "Secret nothing," replied Fido. "It's kittens." "How lovely!" cried all the dolls. "Real live kittens?" "Really live kittens," replied Fido. 3 little tiny ones out in the barn." "I wish Raggedy Ann was here," cried the French doll. "She would know what to do about it." "That's why I want to see her," said Fido as he thumped his tail on the floor. "I did not know there were any kittens, and I went into the barn to hunt for mice, and the first thing I knew Mamma Cat came bouncing right at me, with her eyes looking green. I tell you, I hurried out of there." "How did you know there were any kittens then?" asked Uncle Clem. "I waited around the barn until Mamma Cat went up to the house, and then I slipped into the barn again, for I knew there must be something inside, or she would not have jumped at me that way. We're always very friendly, you know," Fido continued. And what was my surprise to find 3 tiny little kittens in an old basket way back in a dark corner. "Go get them, Fido, and bring them up so we can see them," said the tin soldier. "Not me," said Fido. "If I had a suit of tin clothes on like you have, I might do it, but you know cats can scratch very hard if they want to." "We will tell Raggedy when she comes in," said the French doll, and then Fido went out to play with a neighbour dog. So when Raggedy Ann had been returned to the nursery, the dolls could hardly wait until Marcella had put on their nighties and left them for the night. Then they told Raggedy Ann all about the kittens. Raggedy Ann jumped from her bed and ran over to Fido's basket. He wasn't there. Then Raggedy suggested that all the dolls go out to the barn and see the kittens. This they did easily, for the window was open, and it was but a short jump to the ground.